Hello and good evening, viewers. Welcome to Have Your Say Club Presents Reading Ravens, a show where we talk to our club members about a book each week. The book that we are going to talk about today is a humorous satire on banking system, The Bank of Polampur, written by a banker himself, Shri Ved Mathur. And the guest who is going to talk about this book today is a very respected member of our club. He has been a banker himself. He is an entrepreneur now and a social work enthusiast, Mr. Harish Khatri. Harish sir, good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, Vidit. Thank you very much. And also thank you for inviting me to this show.
Right. So, sir, before we start talking about this amazing book, The Bank of Polampur, we know that you are very much close to the author, and author himself is a very interesting and a charming personality. So, we would request if you could tell us something about the author, his style of thinking, and his style of writing, so that we can know more about him.
Yeah, Ved Mathur has been my good friend, and we rather joined the banking career together in 1978 in Shri Ganganagar. And we progressed in our career together, though due to transfers and due to promotions, our places of postings were changed and they were different. But we were together, we kept in touch, and we used to be mentor for each other. Before coming to bank, he was actually a journalist. Rather, he was a columnist for a newspaper. He has got a wonderful power of observation and also writing humor. He creates humor in very simple thing also. So that's a really very impressive of him. Uh, so during the banking, he worked at so many offices, you can say, smaller offices, semi-urban and urban branches, then administrative offices, then the training system, administrative offices, and of course the head office, corporate office. So he has seen every nook and corner of the banking system. So that's how he can observe those things.
Okay, it means he's very observant plus having a power of humor. Great.
Yeah.
So, sir, we all know that banking is not an easy job, neither today nor in the earlier days. And I think author Shri Ved Mathurji spent around 4 decades as a banker in his life. So, how could he keep his creativity alive for such a big span of time? Because to keep a creative alive in such a tedious environment, such a pressure cooker like environment, working in a bank is a tough task. So, how he managed to do that?
Uh, yeah, what I feel is that he remained a journalist, I tell you, despite his being in a bank. He was a journalist from his heart. And he was that honest person. He was not just whatever people were doing, he didn't adhere to those practices. So he had his own vision of things and he was just observing. And then he learned a lot during his career journey, I can say. And the people who were not logical, uh, not on merits, you can say. So he was observing, and all those things were registering in his mind. And during the banking career, definitely one doesn't find time. But after he got retired, so all those things which were registered in his mind, he actually all mentioned on this book, and that is in front of you.
Okay.
Bank of Polampur.
So I think it is correct if I put it in a way like he had this journalist or an author DNA in him, and he kept it dormant during this banking career. And now once he is out of it, he's showing its true colors.
I don't say that it was dormant. Actually, during banking also, he was writing in
Okay.
newspapers, magazines, and so many articles and satires were published. I have seen those things. And he also written another book which was Samne Hai Safalta. It was a Hindi book. It was written by him during his banking tenure only.
Okay.
So he was a live journalist also when he was a
Okay.
banker.
It's an amazing skill, I would say, that keeping your creativity alive while you are in this corporate job.
Yeah.
So, sir, now let's come back to the book. So, what is that central message this book wants to convey, The Bank of Polampur?
This book, Bank of Polampur, actually is a hilarious novel. and it carries, I think, hundreds of anecdotes which are taken from banking system. So it is a imaginary bank, Bank of Kuala Lumpur. Then the anecdotes which he has picked up, or he has, you can say, coined or written, they represent small offices or urban offices also, metropolitan branches also, training system, audit system of the bank, administrative office working, then corporate office, the divisions of head office. So he has picked up all those offices, and those all incidents which are there in the book, they narrate the working or the system which is prevailing there. The message he wanted to give, I think, is that all these incidents are written in such a witty and clever language that they amuse you, no doubt, but they also expose the defects and faults of the banking system, which is a messy banking system, particularly the public sector banks. And also, it speaks about the innate corruption which is prevalent there in the banking system. So that is the core message which I think he want to give.
Okay, so sir, it means it's just a crux of his entire experience of 4 decades in banking system, what he observed and penned by his inner author and humorist and journalist. So I think that's the way the book it is. So there is one central character in this book, Mr. Kashmiri Lal Chawla,
Yeah.
and author is talking and narrating entire story through the eyes of this Kashmiri Lal Chawla. So, what is so special about this character, and how do you think author could conceptualize such a character in the book?
Actually, when I look at the career journey of Mr. Mathur, he joined the bank as a clerk in a very junior position, and then he progressed. He also worked in so many types of branches, offices, administrative offices, training system, audit, and the corporate office. And then he retired as general manager. This Kashmiri Lal Chawla also is a character who joins the Bank of Kuala Lumpur in clerical cadre and ultimately progressing towards the higher ladders. He ultimately retires as general manager of the bank. So what I feel is that whatever Mr. Mathur saw during the career journey, all those characters and all those incidents which were registered in his mind and which were also, I think, making him angry also. So all those things he presented. He wanted to say it through a central character who was this Kashmiri Lal Chawla. And the name which is given to Kashmiri Lal Chawla is because he was in Punjab National Bank. There is a little Punjabi stint, I tell you, in this bank. So the name and surname is typical to the Punjabi society, the Kashmiri Lal Chawla. So how it goes.
Okay, so it means this Mr. Chawla has close affinity with Mr. Mathur. So, talking about the characters in this book, author categorically talked about three significant characters who were managing directors of the bank once upon a time in the book: Mr. Pillai, Mr. Gupta, and Miss Natarajan. So, could you please talk us through about what was so special or what was so unique in the style of working in these characters, these managing directors, that author couldn't stop himself by nominating and writing about them?
Yeah, Ved Pathur picked up three characters, three managing directors, and all these three differently were different from each other. So he tried to put that how the managing directors of the bank behave. So the first one was Shiv Shankar Pillai. So the Shiv Shankar Pillai, Mr. Mathur says that uh, he worked like Asaram Bapu. It is not that thing, but that Mr. Pillai was very fond of speaking at length. And
Oh.
like Asaram Bapu is speaking in the satsang for
Hmm.
longer hours, then this Mr. Pillai used to call meetings by meetings of general managers or circle heads or senior officers, and then he used to talk in length, say 10 hours or 11 hours for 12 hours. He used to speak. He used to preach about honesty, hard work, dedication in the bank. And he used to narrate his own examples that when he was there, he was doing this thing, that thing. So he thought that he is educating the staff or senior management. But actually, all those people who were listening, they were really not enjoying, I'm sure. And it was all boring for them, but they were still clapping and they were applauding because he was a managing director. So that is how he was fond of speaking. At the same time, he uh, took a huge personal and you can favors by arranging a decision by the bank in taking over an insurance company, which was at the verge of closure or just death. That was there, but he arranged that was taken over by Punjab, by that particular Bank of Kuala Lumpur, and uh, all the staff of the bank, that was directed to bring business for that particular insurance company. So what happened? The core banking activity, the core business took the back seat, and entire staff was working for bringing more and more insurance clients for that particular company. Those bankers or staff people who brought a good business for the insurance company, they were favored by giving promotions, and they were given foreign trips, gifts, etc. So that's how it worked under Mr. Shiv Shankar Pillai. The second MD narrated
Mr.
in the
Gupta.
book is Dayal Das Gupta. So Dayal Das Gupta had two principles. One was जियो और जीने दो. जियो और जीने दो का मतलब वेद माथुर ने बोला है कि खाओ और खाने दो. यदि आपको कोई खाने की अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है तो खाओ और खाने दो मीन्स आपको जो मिलता है खाओ एंड दूसरे को डिस्टर्ब नहीं करो. कोई खा रहा है तो खाने दो. In this way, what will happen? No one will become your enemy, and आपको criticize नहीं होगा, and you will sail through your tenure of being a managing director, and you will be having a lot of things accumulated for you and for next generations. Second principle which was there for with Mr. Gupta was कि जो दे उसका भी भला और जो ना दे उसका भी भला. तो मतलब जो दे गया और काम करवा गया उसका भी काम ठीक है, लेकिन जो नहीं दे गया उसका भी काम कर दो. So this will what will happen, the second category will help you in building your image in the public. They'll say that he is very honest person and my work was done without any favor I gave to him. And secondly, they will counter those people who has done favor for you, that no, you are not correct. He is definitely an honest person. So these were two principles.
Wow.
Third character was Sudha Natarajan. So Sudha Natarajan was very fond of new and costly saris and jewelry, and every day she used to wear everything new. Nobody saw her repeating anything any day. And then she was fond of going to beauty parlor also. She used to visit beauty parlors in five-star hotels, and all those bills were paid by the bank on account of business meetings. So that's how she was. But in public sector banks, one particular day during the year is observed as Vigilance Day, or you can say Anti-Corruption Day, like that. And in head office, the chief vigilance commissioner from the central government visits, and they normally take oath of being honest and dedicated and all those things. During that particular day, Sudha Natarajan used to wear a simple khadi sari, and she was holding a book by Gandhiji, and she used to preach that there should be Sada Jivan and Uch Vichar.
Wow.
So that's how she was.
Wow. Some really interesting and amazing characters in the book. That's like really the book is intriguing, and the way you are narrating it, it is building up all the interest. So before I move on to a question, I would love to hear one more incident from the book.
Okay. Now Diwali is coming, and Diwali is a season when people exchange gifts. But in particular banking system, what happens? The clients whose work has been done by some manager or some officer or some chairman or managing director. They throng to those officers in the bank with the gifts and they offer those gifts. And then at the same time, the branch managers are going to their own regional head or circle head, you can say, because whenever some promotion is there, they should be given favor, or during the place of posting, they should be given favor. So they go to their senior officers. One regional manager was there, and branch managers were coming to him with the gifts during Diwali time. So one branch manager came, entered in his house, and brought a very large fruit basket. So after seeing that fruit basket, regional manager got furious actually, because so many people are coming with fruit baskets and sweet boxes, mithai ka dibba and all those things. It's very difficult to arrange that, manage that particular inventory created during that Diwali. So he shouted at the branch manager that, what is this? Why you have brought this large fruit basket? You should have brought certain small gift. There are many small gifts which also can be a token of respect and love for your senior. So he immediately took his hand in his pocket and took out a gold coin. He told, sir, I have brought a small token of love also for you. So that here it is. So that regional manager got very happy, and so all that anger
Yeah.
was down, and he welcomed in. So that is one incident in the book.
Amazing incident, sir. I think a film can be made from these incidents. No? Once, maybe in future we can have a movie, Bank of
Yeah,
Colombo.
rather it's a movie or it can be a web series. I think
Yes,
so many
yes.
anecdotes are there.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And they're so funny and like full of fun.
Yeah,
So, sir, when I looked at the book, at the cover page of the book, I could see two prominent faces or the caricature of Mr. Vijay Mallya and Nirav Chokshi. So, I'm pretty much sure that book must be talking something about these gigantic frauds which are happening and we are seeing in the media on and off. So,
yeah.
if we
I
look
think
at through the lens of this book, Bank of Polampur, what this book says about all these things.
yeah. I think you are referring to these two characters which are
Yes,
appearing there.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, this is the sad story of today's world. I tell you. That's why this book has come, and how the banking culture is there. What happens? These two names, Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi, one more Choksi is his recent name. So all these names are definitely there who have defrauded the bank and banking industry. But there may be hundreds of such cases which are not exposed right now. They also might be exposed in future. So what happens? The overall culture is there. There are in the banking system. What happens? Service can be provided to these people by the local branch manager and a regional manager or the corporate office people. So all those, there are people who are different at different decision layers of the bank. So these guys like Vijay Mallya or Nirav Modi, what they are doing, they are keeping everybody in good humor. So they know what is the value of each layer and each person. So they are doing favors according to that. There may be uh, gifts, there may be gold coins, there may be diamond jewelry, whatever. And the lavish parties are being thrown. In Bombay or like Vijay Mallya, he used to throw lot many parties in which Bollywood celebrities were attending. So if a general manager of a bank is also invited, so that is definitely, that becomes a very prestigious point for himself and amongst his society, his family, so that he has been invited by this guy. So, but what happens once these favors are taken? What happens when the decision is to be taken, that person on that particular Vijay Mallya or Nirav Modi? Then you forget the merits of the case. That
So
is the
true.
problem. You forget merits. You simply say yes, and you take a decision which ultimately and you keep on taking, and it starts from 1 crore, it's then goes to 50 crore, 1,100 crore, 400 crore, 1,000 crore, and 9,000 crore. So this goes like this. And ultimately, this is a bubble, because all these funds are actually not going to that particular right project because they were not sanctioned on merits. They are diverted, and they are diverted to certain other projects. All those cases, if you see Vijay Mallya's case, fund diversion was there, huge fund diversion was there. Long back, there was a Satyam case. The funds were diverted to real estate business, and then
Correct.
so this is how bank frauds are coming, and non-performing assets are being increased.
Correct. So, sir, is the Bank of Kuala Lumpur only talking about the loopholes and the things which are not going right in the system, or they also come up with some kind of a solution also, like how to fix these things?
No, Mr. Mathur definitely has suggested certain solutions. While all the first chapters, he has brought all those problems, but at the end, in the last chapter, he is speaking to his wife Manpreet Kaur, again a Punjabi name, uh, and he is not very happy about what is happening in the Bank of Kuala Lumpur, and he wants to suggest certain things. So that he has uh, come forward. There were many suggestions, but I'll come narrate a couple of those. One was that in today's scenario, what happens? A small loan, say it's 5,000 loan or 50,000 loan or 5 lakh rupees loan, they come with accountability. So person who is actually sanctioning those loans and giving those loans is actually accountable for the whole tenure of that particular loan. So, but when larger loans are there, say 400 crore loan or 100 crore loan or 1,000 crore loan, all those loans are actually done by certain credit committee or certain management committee or certain board of directors. Then these guys actually are not individually accountable for that loan. If loan is defaulted, it was done by board. If loan is defaulted, it was done by management committee. So all those individual guys are not actually responsible there. So what he suggests, Mr. Mathur suggests, is that in those committees or board, people who are inducted, they should be honest. They also should have knowledge about the subject, because the people who are there, they don't know how a project loan is sanctioned, how a project loan can be appraised. So they should be having a knowledge, and then accountability should be there. If they are sanctioning, they are signing there jointly, each one of them should be accountable for that particular law. So that is one suggestion which he has given.
Correct.
Then
Yes,
he has mentioned another thing, that normally what happens, banks are hiring multinational consultancy firms to look at their organizational structure, to see how efficiency can be brought, what structural changes can be done so that it becomes a good organization. A huge hefty fees of 50 crore or 100 crore are given as fee. But what actually happens is their staff who are coming to the bank to give recommendation, to prepare reports, they are young management graduates. No doubt they may be from prestigious universities of the world, but they actually don't have experience of actually business places where bank is working. So what they do, they give certain cosmetic changes in their report, and they say if you are presently at 4 tier, they'll say you should have a 3 tier system. If you're at 3 tier, they say you should be at 4 tier system. And if you are having a regional office to control, say 50 branches, you should have a circle office. You should rename it to circle office, which will be holding 80 branches under his control. So these are some cosmetic changes. What Mr. Mathur suggests is that we have huge manpower. We have that power working across so many layers and so many types of branches, offices, administrative staff, all this thing. Why not we should prepare a certain questionnaire? We should take views of all of them, and then you have certain experts or professional people who look at those suggestions, look at that feedback, and then give suggestions.
correct.
Yeah. So that probably may be a real
Correct.
report.
Very valid point, sir, because at the time of hiring, when you're banking upon the knowledge, you're testing all the knowledge, you're screening those people, this means you have faith on their intellect. So why not at the time of crisis, let's resort to your own people, perhaps because they are more attached to you, and they really know where the problem is. So very valid suggestion, sir. And it's remarkable that this book is not only talking about the loopholes in a humor or satire way, but it is also giving you the solutions. So overall, I would what the feeling which I get, it is a book towards the fixing the banking system of our country, perhaps with a touch of humor and few suggestions.
Yes.
Right. So towards the end, I would like to ask from you, sir, that author is also giving a disclaimer here that all the characters and the incidents which is being mentioned in the book and which we have talked about in this show, they all are imaginary and they're not real. So what is your take on it, sir?
Uh, if you read the book, you find a very large number of characters which are there in the book, and I don't feel that any level of author can create so many characters in such a real thing. I don't think Mr. Mathur also can create those many characters. So during his journey in the banking, that 4 decades which he has spent, he has come across so many people, so many characters. All those were registered in his mind, I feel. So all these characters which are there in the book, they definitely must be inspired by certain real characters. I also personally feel when I read the book that I have worked with so many characters which are narrated there in the book. So I particularly don't feel that that is uh, going to be a true statement.
Right. So
It,
they are imaginary characters inspired by the real ones.
yes, I agree with
Right. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure speaking to you and talking about this amazing book, this cult book on a humorous satire on the banking industry, the Bank of Kolampur. One last question to you, sir, before we sign off. Like, if I am to get this book and read this book, how can I get it?
Yeah, you can get this book. You can find this on Amazon also. And otherwise, you can log into www.vedmathur.com or www.bankofkolampur.com, and you can place your order there. It will be reaching to your home.
Right. Okay. And I think, sir, on your behalf, I can also give that claim which Ved sir once gave to us that अगर किसी को ये book पढ़ के मजा नहीं आए तो उसके 198 rupees refund हो जाएंगे, right?
Yes, but we have, I think, sold 7,500 or so copies of the book. So far, no such claim has come to us.
Right. I'm pretty much sure that you will never get such claims. So I think this is a worth reading a book, and at least for those who are from this fraternity, from banking and finance, they can really enjoy and cherish every moment and every page of this book. Indeed, it's an incredible book and written by a banker himself, like someone from our own community. So thank you so much, sir, for taking out time on Tuesday evening and investing with us and talking about this cult book, The Bank of Kolampur, with us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Vidit. Thank you. I also enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for inviting. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, viewers, for tuning in and listening to our show. I hope you enjoyed it and you will go and grab your copy of Bank of Kolampur. The link is there on our Facebook page also. All the best. Enjoy reading and happy reading. Still, we meet next week on next Tuesday in another edition of Reading Ravens with new book. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Bye-bye.